Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Facebook. How are you all today? It's good to see you live again, as always. I'm so happy to have these talks with you. And if you happen to catch me live, please say hi. Say where you are watching from. And if that's the first time that you see me live, or it's the first time that you see this video on a replay, my name is Natalia. I am a highest embodiment and consciousness mentor. And today I have a very special topic to share with you because it's been coming up in my sessions, and it's been tremendously important for my life and for the lives of everyone I'm working with. And this is probably the key to your life, all areas of your life as well. So, we are going to talk about authenticity, authentic life, authentic business, authentic leadership. And we are going to talk about it in the context of beingness and how authenticity and beingness are one and the same thing, and why it's so important that for you, especially for your living life, that you come to that place of beingness to change all your living life, and not just one area, not just going and changing one by one, but change immediately everything, right? So let's take it step by step. What do I mean by authenticity, and why in our days so many people have difficulties to understand what is authentic? Authentic is true to you specifically, not to anyone else, but specifically to you. What is true for you? Now, in our day, our mind and our consciousness has been overloaded with everything. And because we have access to information from our various sources, from Facebook, from social media, from all different platforms, and that all goes into your psyche, right? It goes into your psyche, and everyone's psyche, right? Psyche is meaning your consciousness, right? Your consciousness has a lot of stuff there that has been put into us from our childhood, yeah, from the way how we have been conditioned to be from our early childhood, from our teenage years, from our grown-up years. So it's all coming into that layer of psyche, right, which is our consciousness. And that psyche operates in us all the time, influencing our actions, influencing our decisions, influencing our choices, influencing everything. So most of the times when we think that it's our own true nature, is actually not, because as long as conditioning operates in you, whatever it is, it may be, it doesn't matter if it's a good conditioning or it's a bad condition. There are no such things as good and bad anyway, but I'm talking about all conditioning are essentially a limitation that prevents you from discovering your true authenticity. So whatever you learn, whatever you study, whatever you pick up from people who are authority in a certain field that you follow, right? Whatever you gathered and identified with, right? Identified with, I mean that you say that that it applies to you. It all influences your life, right? So there is a layer of your psyche that is a conditioned. It's a conditioned layer of your psyche. And as you start discovering yourself, as you start discovering your true nature, you will have to face all that conditioned layer of the psyche and go deeper beyond that conditioned layer of the psyche. So let's imagine that you have like an entry deeper inward that consists of certain layers, like a layered cake. Yeah, this way, a layered cake. So the first layer is the layer of the conditioned psyche, right? Then deeper. The deeper you go inward, the more you will discover that there is a different psyche in operation. Yeah, and I call it the pure psyche, for example. That is the layer of the psyche that is free from conditioning. Yeah, we can call it pure consciousness because consciousness, we can refer to consciousness at the conditioned level, at the personal consciousness. Then there is a deeper layer of the psyche that is pure consciousness. And pure consciousness is really what your being is. Now, let's take it very practical, simple example. So this is your body, right? This is your body. And here are all the layers of the psyche coming towards the pure state. Now, the pure state, I call it the highest embodiment. The highest embodiment is really what you are now. So the highest possibility of your life, yeah, the true authenticity, the true self-expression exists here. And it exists in you now, right? So all these dimensions, the conditioned dimension and the pure dimension, exist in you simultaneously now, which is why it's important that you understand that it does not take years of inner work to get into that pure dimension, because it's already in you now. Yeah? So that is the level of pure psyche. That is the level of your authenticity. Yeah? The layers and layers and layers and layers. So as you go into your depths, and every layer that you penetrate opens up a different dimension of possibilities for you. It's like, imagine that you are standing and looking up at the mountain. So the view from the bottom, this is, for example, here, when you are in the conditioned dimension of psyche. So the view from the here is very limited. And you can try to improve that layer. Yeah, you can say, well, okay, I'm gonna improve this layer, the conditioned psyche. And most of inner work actually works on the conditioning only. So it does not really penetrate into the deeper dimension of the psyche, which is your true authenticity, which is your true beingness. And that's why you can spend years and years and years improving the conditioned dimension of psyche. For example, you see that you have a certain conditioning or a certain pattern or a certain tendency, and you will start to change it. And you will spend years changing that and improving and upgrading. So, but it's all within the conditioned layer of the psyche. Yeah? So, limited dimension of the psyche. But then, all of that layer, however you improve it, and that's where, for example, personal development is. Yeah, it's here, right? It starts up to here somewhere. All of that dimension is a conditioned dimension, right? It can be slightly upgraded conditioning. So, for example, you believe one thing, And then you change your belief, you believe in a different thing. All the same thing, all the same conditioned psyche, right? So you're moving from one set of conditioning to another set of conditioning, but you're not moving to your authenticity, right? As long as any type of conditioning is in operation, you are not reaching the dimension of your authenticity, right? You are somewhere closer to this dimension, but you are not penetrating that because conditioning is still in operation. Yeah. So if you are watching me and if it's not clear, let me know and I will try to explain it in a different way because it's very important that you get the picture, you get the idea of where is the dimension of your authenticity. So you are not wasting your time improving the conditioned layer of the consciousness. Yeah, because improving the conditioned layer of the consciousness, yeah, that's where all becoming, improving, all that area changing, right, from one thing to another, that's still not touching the dimension of pure psyche, pure consciousness, which is the dimension of your authenticity, right? So here you have your body. Here you have the conditioned dimension of the psyche, right? So as long as the conditioned dimension of psyche is in operation, your body is working with that dimension. Yeah, your brain, which is the key of creating your reality, right? That works with that conditioned consciousness. So imagine that your body is just like a cell phone. It works with whatever network it plugs into. So if your body works with the conditioned dimension of the psyche, it works in a limited dimension. So whatever you improve in this dimension, you will still be limited by that dimension because it will be conditioned. And as I say, you can condition yourself in anything. You can for example think that you are developing a spiritual conditioning, but that's going to be conditioning as well, right? Everything that you put into your psyche as a beliefs, as an opinions, or as a views of the world, or as identification of yourself, that's all here. So authenticity starts from the point once you penetrate the dimension of your psyche, which is pure consciousness free from conditioning. Now, the breakthrough point is what has been referred to in many spiritual traditions as self-realization or God realization. When you realize the truth of what you are. What do I mean when you realize the truth of what you are? You realize the beingness that you are. What is the beingness that you are? The beingness that you are is nothing. Yeah, you realize nothing that is behind everything. And that is a breakthrough point to the dimension of purity. Yeah, to purity is authenticity and uniqueness. So why it's so important to get through that breakthrough point and deepen further, because this is all goes in like that, right? So all these layers so starting from that point when you realize the beingness that you are, that's self-realization, that starts illuminating your brain. Illuminating your brain means that your brain starts to work with that pure dimension of consciousness, the pure intelligence, right? So that is beyond the psyche. And the points that we want with coming into the life of authenticity, the life of your highest embodiment, the life of your full potential as a human being and as a leader is to make your body function with that pure dimension of beingness or pure intelligence, so that that intermediate layer of your psyche is cleared, right? So this is your body, this is the intermediate layer of psyche, and this is the pure dimension of your psyche. So that intermediate layer is cleared, dissolved, and that is possible. And that is what happened in my case, and that is what I'm doing with my clients. We are reducing that intermediate dimension of the psyche so that the body, the brain, can function with a pure dimension of consciousness, of pure intelligence, so that the body and the beingness function as one. So what happens then? Why it is authentic? Because you can create authentic life only when you are free. You are free from all the conditioning, everything that has been put into your psyche by your upbringing, by your background, by the religion, by any spiritual affiliations. Once that is gone, yeah, once that is cleared, once you know your true beingness, then the true beingness starts to operate your brain. That's practically how it is. It takes over your body and takes over your brain, and then it starts expressing itself in a unique way. So this dimension of consciousness, the beingness that I'm talking about, it's not soul. It's not any individualized concept. It's impersonal dimension. We are talking about coming into the personal dimension. Because the idea of soul, for example, that's still in the conditioned layers of the psyche. Because that's the conditioning that have been put into you, that you have a soul, for example, right? So that's the conditioning, still the conditioned layer of the psyche. Now, coming out of that conditioning into impersonal dimension, what is happening? Once you start embodying the impersonal dimension, when this impersonal dimension of beingness that you are operates your body and your brain, it starts expressing itself in its very own unique way. And that uniqueness is original, because originality is only possible when it's free from conditioning, when it's free from the limitations, because otherwise it's not original. Originality only happens in the climate of purity. Yeah? What means purity? Purity means that you don't have any preconceived notions how your life should be. You don't have any identifications of what you are. You don't have any notions of yourself apart from your experiential realization of your beingness, of the beingness that you are. Yeah? So that's when you start creating authentic life. Authentic life. And that's when your leadership becomes authentic as well. And not leadership in the sense that you are leading and the others are following. Leadership in a sense that you are standing in your own light, that you are a unique, authentic individual. You are not a second-hand leader, because a lot of the teachings that has been created in the leadership field, for example, it's giving a certain conditioning of how you should be as a leader and what's your leadership style and all of that. Now, we're coming out from that into the leadership that is defined by your beingness. Yeah? And beingness, so The beingness, which is impersonal, which is the only thing that exists. The beingness, the ultimate reality. You can call it beingness, you can call it life, you can call it pure consciousness. All are referring to the same dimension of pure psyche, really pure psyche, which is unconditioned psyche. And then it's your body has been created by your being. Yeah, it is your being that created this body. And the being created this body for a unique expression. Now, beingness is one in every single living thing and every single human being. Beingness is one. But the form is different. So the form has been created by the beingness for the unique expression. And if you start living in this way, that making your body as a vehicle, right, as just a hollow vessel for the expression of beingness through your body, that's when it will inform you. The beingness will inform you what type of expressions it wants to create through this body. For example, many of you are the leaders that are coming to that dimension of beingness, and many of you are running your own businesses. So when beingness is informing your brain, you start creating the business as an expression of life through the body. So then it has a totally different, unique way. That has nothing to do with the conditioned way of what you believe your business should be about, or what you were taught your business should be about, or how it should be about. Now, you hear people speak about that your business needs to be unique for you, but not many people realize what is needed for that uniqueness to happen. That uniqueness cannot happen in the conditioned dimension of the psyche. Yeah? So Tamara, yes, it's a taking over and stepping into infinite genius beingness. It operates the body and the brain. Great explanations. Thank you, my love. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm happy that you are confirming this in your own experience, and that it lands and resonates deeply in your beingness, what I'm sharing, because that's probably the key to everyone's life, to everyone's business, to everyone's leadership. Well, everyone who is drawn to that deeper dimension of beingness that I'm talking about. Yeah, because what I'm sharing with you will not make much sense to you if you are locked into the conditioned layer of consciousness. If you want to retain your personality is not individuality. Personality comes from your conditioning, from the conditioned layer of the psyche that gives you your personality, and that personality gives you a certain limitation and a certain limited way how you function. But beingness functions in a totally different way. It does not have any limitations, any conditioning, and for many of you, it's ungraspable with the mind, and it is truly ungraspable with the mind. How I can be authentic if I don't have personality? Yes, definitely, to have the experience to understand, and the way towards this is purifying and deprogramming. Absolutely. You you need to shed your programming, your conditioning. That is the only way to authenticity. There is no other way. Yeah, I mean, you can't create an illusions of being God, for example, or being a soul, or any kind of that thing. But that's just a concept. If that's a concept, an idea, or illusion in your mind, that does not have any power. It does not have any potency. It's not going to improve your life. It will just create a different level of conditioning in you. Now, what is the most important thing is that experiential understanding, that coming in out of conditioning, coming into the impersonal dimension of reality, because that's the only true reality there is, that not surprisingly, but miraculously, that brings you individuality, unique individuality. And how it does that? Through expressing through your body. So one of the things that I will share with you today, how you start getting into that true authenticity, is being in your body, in your senses. Because individuality comes from your body, not from your mind, not from your psyche, not from what you learned, from none of that. Yeah, individuality does not exist in the personal consciousness. Personality exists, but not individuality. And the difference is, and I repeat myself so that you understand that personality is conditioned, it's programmed completely. And it does not see its own programming, and that is probably the saddest thing, when you don't see how programmed and how conditioned you are until you come out of that dimension. Yeah. So being in your body, in your senses, is one of the ways how you can start getting in touch with the being, because the being is there. Yeah, as I explained, it's in you already. Yeah. So there is a conditioned layer of the psyche, and there is a pure layer of the psyche within you. It's just a different level of depth. And the point of all the work that we do is to make these depths the pure consciousness, or your highest embodiment. Highest embodiment means your being and your body function at one, to make the state as an uninterrupted living reality. And when you function from this dimension, your business will be the right business for you, because your expressions will be unconditioned. And I repeat, it's very difficult in our days not to get conditioned, because there are a lot of information, and whether you may not even be realizing to the extent to which this information is conditioning. Yeah, conditioning you. So then you come into the unconditioned dimension. So your business is right for you, your expressions are unique, and you will have a unique leadership. And that unique leadership is not coming by the conditioning, and that is what the world needs the most today, because there are a lot of leaders who are conditioned. But being a conditioned leader means that you are not realizing or living your highest potential. So in a way, you can't really be a leader if you are not living your true nature. Yeah, so that really does not make sense if you look at it with a clear eyes. That a leader, first of all, needs to be leading herself. And how will you lead herself or yourself? Is by living your true nature, living your beingness. That is the only thing how you will live, be a leader. So first start with you, leading yourself, being what you are, what you were born to be. Yeah? Not being in the conditioned psyche, imagining yourself you are a person. That's like blind leading the blind. Because if you are still conditioned, you can't lead people to their highest destiny, which is their true nature. So that is the most important for the leader, is to first and foremost to come to that place of being. And you will see, as many of my clients are seeing, that leadership changes once you start dropping your conditioning, start coming out from the conditioned layer of psyche. Your expression changes. Sorry, it's just a question. Is the body only senses? What is the body? Well, the body is the physical organism. That is the body. So how your body operates? Through the sensory perception, through the sensory mechanism. So your brain functions with a sensory mechanism, right? So your living life here, it all depends on your brain, really. Yeah, you know it. The science tells us we cut a piece of the brain, then that's it. So, and your brain works with the senses. So the sensory, so all existence that you see with your eyes, the physical eyes, and with your brain, is sensory. Yeah. So you only see the sensory representation of existence. So you need to realize that all your existence is sensory, right? So the sensory mechanism is working. Now, when I was talking about the condition level of the psyche, now the condition level of the psyche interferes with the sensory mechanism. So there is a pure sensory perception, but then the conditioning is like the glasses that distort the sensory perception. So which is why everyone has their own picture they see. Yeah, people see different things. Every person has the world in their head, because and that world is defined by their conditioning. So that's why we are saying that for your highest embodiment, to live your highest embodiment, you need to see clearly. What does it mean to see clearly? To see things how they are. Was your perception, when your sensory perception is pure. Now, what means to be enlightened? What does it mean, really? It means enlightenment of your brain, that your brain is seeing clearly things. It does not create illusions in your head. It does not see what is not there, or sees what is not there, so that your perception is clear. And one of the ways how you get to that clear perception is to clear all that conditioning and programming that distorts your perception, that you start seeing things that are not there. The inner eye senses is the same. Without the brain, no inner perception. Well, without the brain, you don't have perception of anything. Let's begin with that, right? So you see because you have a brain. Your brain is a very complex neurological mechanism that produces what you see, right? So if your brain, clear example, you go to sleep, the brain shuts down, and everything disappears. The world disappears. So you wake up in the morning, senses start operating, and then you see the world. You see the world with your senses. Now, the inner dimension of the psyche is a different thing. It's not a sensory, outward bound senses. The inner psyche that we are talking about is coming from the depths, from the layer of conditioning. So whereas the senses, operating senses, are necessary for you to see the world and function in the world, now the intermediate layer of the psyche, it just distorts the senses. It's not needed. Because intermediate layer of the psyche, that's where all the subconscious conditioning is, all the programming is, all your hidden tendencies are, all that emotional pain, all that suffering, all of that is a big layer of the psyche which is conditioned. That's why it's so important to clear that. Yeah? Cornelia, did I answer your question? I hope I did. So people, I know that people are saying that what you see with the sensory eyes is an illusion. Well, it's not exactly the case. What you see with a sensory mechanism is a sensory projection of the reality that exists within and without. So to function, yeah, so you can function in a different dimension. So here we come in the physical dimension. So this is your being, right? So this is your being, and your being is manifested in the physical dimension. So your being is manifested in the physical dimension, and your being is observing through the senses. That's how it exists. That's how it gets the experiences, the sensory experience. So you can't say that what you see with your eyes is an illusion. It's not. It's a sensory representation of existence. Yeah. So the sensory representation of the beingness, you see it with the physical senses. Yeah, but to know what it is behind the senses, you need to realize what you are. So to see what cannot be seen with your senses, to see the dimension of beingness, you need to realize what you are, the beingness that you are. That is behind your sensory perception. And then you will understand that there is just beingness. There are no objects. Although you see objects with your senses, there is just beingness underneath. Super consciousness state. Tamara says it's super consciousness state. Yes, that is. Well, you can say super consciousness, but I think it's just clear seeing. It's clear perception when you realize the depths, when you realize the depths of reality, the ultimate reality, really. The ultimate reality is one. Now, I know I posted in my group that people were saying that we are one. Well, we can say it like that when we are in the conditioned dimension of the psyche, that we are one. But in reality is that there is only one. It's not we. Now, when we say we are saying that from the perception of being an individual person, because as long as you are a person, you will see other persons. You will see the objects. You will objectify your sensory perception, right? But when you come into the pure perception, you will see that there is only one. There is only one being. Yeah? But for that, you need to look from that perception, from the beingness. You look through the eyes of beingness, not through the eyes of the person. So, but yeah, it's a pure perception, and it may seem that it's probably too advanced or too difficult, and I tell you that it's not. And especially if you're listening to this now, it is your natural state. Now, what is enlightenment? What is your highest embodiment? Is simply your natural state. It's nothing extraordinary. I know it may seem extraordinary for many people because we've been conditioned to function in a limited way. Yeah. But in fact, this is your natural state. And that's why it's so important that we have these conversations like that, and that there are more people who speak about that. Yeah, that's why I'm talking a lot about leadership and leaders being authentic, the leaders of beingness, because that's what you need to share with people. You need to share with them the reality, the truth behind this existence, because that's the only thing that is missing in this world. Is that what we talking about? Sorry, Cornelia, I don't understand your question. Can you just rephrase it, please? What did you want to ask? So we are talking about the leadership of being is the leadership that lives really in the true state and sees clearly the reality. That's what we are talking about here. That you are living your highest embodiment, that you are, yes, that you are speaking from your true authenticity. And true authenticity is absolutely different. A true authenticity, again, I repeat myself, it comes from the beingness. How can you say if it's true authenticity or not? Now, if you are using your memory, then, unless you are recalling the facts, for example, but if you are using your memory, that means that you are using the parts of the conditioned psyche, because that's all part of your memory, that dimension. But beingness does not need to rely on the past memory and information, because beingness is the pure expression in the moment. Yeah? So you don't need to recall what the scriptures are saying, for example. You don't need to recall that, unless you want to quote that to make a point or something like that. But reality is now. So reality is now. What we are talking about, the beingness is now. That's why I'm saying that it's not difficult. It's not impossible. Everyone who is drawn, who is open to hear about that, they can come to that state. Yeah? And if you come working with me, you can realize your being, as all of my clients do. It's not that difficult. You just need to be shown the right thing. You need to be reflected the right thing, because your being is already within you. Yeah? If you sit with me and you come with me, you can get the reflection of that. You can get the reflection of what you are. And then, from that reflection, then we reduce the conditioning. And there is a way to do that, to take you out of that, because what happens, so even some people realize the beingness, they are still falling backward in conditioning, especially when it comes to business, when it comes to money, when it comes to leadership. And why? Because, see, we are talking about beingness that is up here, right? And we are talking about the existence that is here. So your action, your practical action in the world, your business, the money, they are, when you start acting, the conditioning still operates, and that conditioning interferes, so that even though you may know your reality as beingness or as pure consciousness, you may have that realization, as many do, but you're not embodying it. And this is one of the very important aspects, that the realization needs to be brought in existence, because existence is down here in the senses. And down here in the senses, we are talking about business, we are talking about leadership, we are talking about relationships, we are talking about money, we are talking about all these practical things. So we are coming out from that impersonal, supreme, pure consciousness, whichever way you want to call it. But then we have to bring that into existence, into the body, into the practical daily life. And this is a totally different aspect of embodiment. And this is something that is probably one of the biggest impact of my work. It's not just coming out and realizing the impersonal dimension, it's actually bringing it down here in existence, in your body, in your senses, in your daily life. And that is not easy because of the conditioning. Cornelia, I understand deeply, thank you. It's about here now. Yes, but Cornelia, I just want to briefly tell you that here now, if you are operating, if your brain is operating with conditioning, yeah, if the conditioning interferes your brain, you can't be here now. That's one of the things that not many people understand. Here now means that there is no conditioning interfering in your brain, that your perception is pure, that it's not contaminated. And that requires, of course, clearing of that conditioning, and that requires high degree of awareness as well, that you are very alert, very aware, and present in your body, in your senses. Because now, here now means there is no movement of that conditioning psyche happening in your body. So it's now. It's a very fast pace of consciousness. It's a very fast intelligence that it does not need thought. Yeah, because thought operates on the basis of the past conditioning. So, and that's why when you think excessively, for example, that means that you're not really here now, you are going outward in the mind. And that's one of the very important things to come to that state where you're really here now, is to reduce that movement of thinking of that conditioning traffic of past memory. To speak directly from your heart, because it pops out automatically without any interference of operation from the mind. You are being authentic. Throat, heart connection. Yes. You don't need to, as I said, you're right, Tamara. You don't need to bring your past memory when you speak, because when you're really now, let me come to the point, because being is now, right? So here is what you have to understand. Your body is now, your senses are now, the sensory perception is now, and your being is now. So the only thing that is not now is the past memory, past conditioning, past programming. That is not now. That is all in the past. And it doesn't matter what is in your conditioning. Even if you read scriptures, or if you read holy books, or if you read spiritual books, even that is your memory. So now means that you are not using that at all, that you are operating from the purity of intelligence. And that is a really supreme intelligence, and that's what makes authentic leadership. That's speaking from the heart of being is what makes authentic leadership. Having clear mind, clear brain, that's what makes authentic leadership. And because that goes directly into the beingness of the other people, the other brains and bodies. So whoever listens to that, and it is, and that's how you impact. That's the leader of impact. The leader of impact is the leader who is able to reach someone else's beingness. Yeah, because they are only reaching the beingness, the same beingness. Now I'm reaching those beingness that is in each single body, in all your bodies, same beingness. And I'm speaking to that beingness. And if you are open and receptive, you can receive that. Cornelia, I have a conditioning only to act when I perceive inner impulses. There is a concept of impulse in me. I'm looking for impulses, but there is there cannot be any impulse. There is now. Well, Cornelia, do you mean that you are reacting to things? You are reacting, right, to what you perceive, because the impulse actually comes from the conditioning. It's the conditioned layer of the psyche that produces the impulses. Now, you need to clear those impulses because they are going to interfere in your perception um, and get you out of beingness. If that impulses, yeah, all the impulses are taking you out from beingness, and they need to be looked at and cleared. Yeah, if they are persistent, especially if they are persistent. So you need to see what these are. Thank you. This is a new realization. Thank you so much. Well, I'm happy to have this conversation with you, and I'm happy for our interaction. For those who've been live with me today, thank you so much, and I hope this conversation served you. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them underneath this video. And if you find this video on my YouTube channel, please feel free to share and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. I intend to produce more talks on beingness and in beingness and with beingness, so that it lands into the hearts of more and more people who are open and receptive to receive it. Thank you so much once again, and I see you soon. Thank you, sister. A real pleasure to hear or feel your unity. Thank you, my love. Thank you, thank you, thank you.